Gather round, my children, and I'll tell a tale of woe about a famous cowboy outlaw who lived 100 years ago. Today his soul at last is resting peacefully in hell, though many years have passed away since through the gallows trap he fell. He was sitting propped up in a chair just after he was hanged, and they photographed his body as a distant church bell rang. A circus man was waiting with $50 in his coat, and he bought the cowboy outlaw so he could have him in his show. And very soon he was embalmed and toured from town to town. People paid to see the outlaw that they'd heard so much about. He stood before them with a pistol against a painted scene, the greatest cowboy outlaw that the world has ever seen. But in time he was forgotten, and no one knew his name. And when he began to fall apart, they took his booth away. They painted him with varnish and put a crown up on his head. Come and see the King of Egypt, said the sign out front instead. And then one year the circus closed, the tents were packed away, and he was sold to an amusement park on Massachusetts Bay. He was sold for next to nothing, and they packed him in the van. They thought they'd bought a dummy, but they'd really bought a man. He was sprayed a special color to help him look a fright, and they hung him from a gallows neath an ultraviolet light. He hung there in a spook house for many, many years, as youthful faces passed him by in tiny railroad cars. Until one fine and fateful day in 1976, he fell down from the gallows when the hangman's noose unhitched. His arm broke at the shoulder as he clattered to the floor, and the man who went to fix him was stunned by what he saw. And the teenage boys did holler, and the teenage girls did faint, when they saw the bone protruding from the varnish and the paint. A coroner came to serve him and ran a slew of tests. They found out who he was in time and laid his soul to rest. A 100 years have come and gone since he spoke his final words. I'm not afraid to die and leave behind this rotten world. So go and pull the lever, hangman, now my race on earth is run. And he thought his life was ended, but it had only just begun. He thought his life was ended, but it had only just begun.